Good afternoon and welcome everyone. My name is Bill Schober from the Path to Purchase Institute, and I'm delighted to have you join us today for this iSeminar on 8 ways digital package printing adds value to the brand retail shopper experience, sponsored by the folks at Great Northern StrataGraph. Our speakers today are Mike Schliesman, Senior Vice President, Business Unit Manager. Mike's responsible for the strategic direction of Great Northern StrataGraph. With over 30 years of print and packaging industry experience, Mike was instrumental in establishing the digital capabilities at StrataGraph. He's been featured as a digital printing and packaging subject matter expert in several national publications, and recently was a guest speaker at the 9th Annual Digital Print for Packaging US. Mike is one of the best known and most expert voices in the entire industry, and I've known him for ages, so it's really good to have him on board. We're also delighted to have as our other speaker today, David Murphy, who serves as Worldwide Marketing Director for HP Inc.'s Page-Wide Industrial Division. David and his team drive the division's global marketing strategy, product marketing, and business development. He works intimately with HP's customers in the commercial print, mail, publishing, and packaging sectors, helping them transform their business models, accelerate growth, and max value through digital print. In his 20-plus year tenure in the production print community, David's held multinational leadership roles in marketing, sales, and business development. He's an advocate for digital production, print, and the graphic arts industry, having served on numerous print associations, conferences, and boards of directors. David holds an MBA and BS degrees in marketing, and he's lucky enough to make his home in beautiful San Diego, California. So, why are we here today? Our goal is not to make technical experts out of marketers and retailers, but it is very important to understand some of the nuances and potentials of this still new technology. Great Northern does not just plug in some giant color printer and hit send. It is infinitely complicated. The install alone can be a multi-year process, sometimes involving, I've seen it, all sorts of cranky German technicians who camp out in the plant and annoy everybody and whatnot. And while that's Mike and his team's problem, the key for you as an audience is understanding the potential that this system holds. It's all still unfolding. And the good news is that Great Northern's reputation in this business is as a quick reaction, come to your rescue in a crisis kind of a company. So you're in the right place today, right now. And at the end of this, you have the responsibility of formulating some projects and ideas that will truly challenge Mike and his team, especially considering all of the one-to-one marketing disruptions and opportunities that are getting created out in the marketplace these days. So this is really, pay attention. This one could be a game changer, I think, as we head into the years ahead in this new environment that is getting altered by the e-commerce marketplace. Now, we encourage questions, and we'll have time for them at the end of the webinar. And in fact, when you think of questions during the webinar, please send them in via the Q&A box or chat feature, and we'll make our way through them at the end of the session. Also, please look for a handout version of the deck or the presentation materials that's going to be accessible. I forget if it's whether through the site or it will be sent to you, but you'll get your hands on it when it's all done. So I'm done. Now, without further ado, Mike, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Appreciate the introduction and excited to be here today to have an opportunity to talk a little bit about the digital printing process that we've recently installed through our StrataGraph operation, and really bring some ideas on how we might be able to get our customers to help stand out on the crowded shelf. Hopefully we want you to leave here today with some actionable items or some ideas as to how digital might affect what you're doing in your business. So how do you stand out on a crowded shelf? Because it's never been more important or more difficult today with how crowded our stores get, anything from mass to grocery, et cetera. It's hard to get your customers to recognize something what's out there. So is there a play or something that digital can do to bring that out? As threats from online challengers increase every day, So must the brand's ability to grab the shopper's attention at retail. Being able to stop the shopper at the shelf, convert this contact into a sale, is made even more challenging by the sheer depth of our shoppers' omni-channel experiences. With messages coming from all directions, how do you get noticed by your shopper? How do you reinforce your message to your customer? What can you add, or what can we add for stopping power to your products at retail? Digital printing is really expanding the ways that retail packaging can communicate your message to connect with your targeted shoppers. And Great Northern is one of the first few companies to take advantage of this valuable new technology. We believe the value propositions offered by this technology can help shape the look of packaging at retail, how we interact with shoppers both on the shelf and in alternate placements for years to come. And I think we're just starting to understand and be able to share with customers really what this technology can bring that's different to the marketplace. Great Northern is partnered with HP here to offer this new high-speed inkjet digital printing for packaging. The installation and use of HP's page-wide T400 press has really allowed us the opportunity to lead the industry in offering digital printing for packaging to our customers, both on primary packaging areas, for shelf, at club store markets, and a variety of other areas. This equipment offers true high-speed manufacturing. It's not just a prototype or a low-quantity machine, as many people might be familiar with in previous digital applications. This technology really offers offset equivalent print quality at high-speed production output for regular everyday runs. The machine is capable of running up to 600 feet per minute for printing. And our top liners can be used both on folding carton, on this special laminated product we'll tell you a little bit about today, and in corrugated applications. And one of the unique things on the HP feature is the use of food-safe inks in the process. Actually, what I'd like to do now, just to kind of wet the whistle a little bit here, so to speak, is to show you a quick video. And on this video, what we're going to see is just basically part of a setup on a multi-run job that we'll talk about a little later, just to give you kind of an idea of what digital really is. So I'm going to launch the video, which will play for maybe 25, 30 seconds, and then explain a little bit about it as we go back in. So enjoy. So what you just saw in the video is basically part of a setup on a various print quantity job that shows kind of the power of digital. What we're looking at here is one part from a recent display job that had over 36 different prints for teams, both on the professional and the college side, for a timed promotion type launch that went in. And for anybody who's really familiar with printing, you can see the impact of watching 30 teams run through on different prints in a 30-second video really helps understand the capabilities of digital. On a traditional analog manufacturing process, that video could have taken about a week to shoot with all of the different setups and the waste and the things in between. So it really helps understand the impact that digital can kind of have on our market. So we'll talk much more about that as we go through. And I think one of the things you'll see on some of the themes, there's a couple of things to show you and a few case studies in here. One of the things that I think you'll see prevalent is we were trying to put very current and timely items. So there's a fair amount of stuff that relates to the football season since we're in the middle of it that helps you understand just how timely what we have is. So what are we going to cover today? What I'd like to go through is just a real quick introduction on Great Northern and StrataGraph, understand a little bit about the company and the product, and then really get into the digital value props and some of the case studies around some of those. And then David has really got some interesting examples from all around the world how HP's technology has been used on the digital side here to kind of interact and bring value to customers that I think you'll find highly enlightening. So just a little bit about Great Northern. You know, we are a privately held company, founded in '62. We've got over 1,600 employees across what is now 12 manufacturing locations. We've got 7 in our packaging and in-store group and another 5 in our laminations group. Just a strong history of reinvestment in equipment and resources to bring new technologies to the market. Hence how we're here today talking about this new digital print capabilities. We really try and be an innovative leader and provide full end-to-end turnkey solutions, all the way from our creative design staff through in-store execution where it's needed. We are kind of clustered in the Midwest for most of our manufacturing. We're Wisconsin, Illinois, and Minnesota for most of the things on our packaging and our in-store group. But that kind of strategically locates us to be able to provide both local, regional, and national coverage, depending on what the applications for the customer are. And then we've got other areas scattered throughout the country where we have specific customer applications on packing, fulfillment, sales and design offices, et cetera. Really meant to service customers nationwide. When you look at the products we offer, we have packaging and in-store are our 2 biggest business units. And they're primarily on the packaging side is corrugated packaging, both in the brown box, protective packaging, and graphic packaging side. In-store displays is one of our bigger groups. We provide anything from temporary corrugated all the way through full permanent wood, wire, metal, et cetera, with a variety of manufacturing options and some options offshore to be able to supplement it. Our other groups are laminations, which is a corner board protective V-board application that you see there. Roll guard, which is primarily a molded fiber and other products cradles. And then the product we're talking about today is our StrataGraph application. And StrataGraph is a non-corrugated packaging application. So it's traditional folding carton along with some interesting heavyweight products that we have that we call LSF or laminated solid fiber. When we look at the StrataGraph, you know, we are an engineered solution. We are creating thicknesses of paper here to make specific customer needs, used all over the shelf and in club store applications. Very high impact graphics. We try and provide sustainable solutions for reducing and eliminating excess packaging. Again, our central footprint helps us service nationally. And we really push on our mission of doing what others can't or won't for our customers, which is part of why we have new technology and new ways that we like to go to market. Looking at the different types of solutions that we can bring, we have retail-ready packaging, shelf packaging, gift packaging, special windowed boxes. You can see the whole variety of the product offerings that are here. When we look at the way StrataGraph goes to market in digital printing is we try to be involved as early in the process as we can, because as we'll go through later in some of our digital applications, the sooner that we can get involved with the people who are working on it and talk through the digital value propositions and the needs of it, the quicker we can get that process put together and we can actually be able to make sure the artwork is laid out correctly and all of those types of things happen along the line. Last slide here on kind of who we are and what we do is the StrataGraph process. It is a rather unique process where we're doing web printing, both in digital and offset, and then we're laminating to another substrate to form a thicker board before we die cut, window, glue, whatever else has to be done. So it really kind of answers that gap between what might be traditional folding carton and your corrugated, because we can make thicknesses of paper that aren't otherwise available to really show some economies in that process. So That's Great Northern overall here, and things we want to talk to you about today. Let's talk about all of our digital value props that we can go through now. So first of all, we want to look at how brands can achieve success in their sales efforts by taking advantage of the following digital printing benefits. First one we talk about is that digital printed packaging improves the overall speed to market for your products. With fewer steps in the manufacturing process and a streamlined approval process, digital printing can help you get on the shelf faster. Ideas can be brought to life faster. Packaging changes can get to market on a tight timeline and a tight budget. Speed up your merchandising's journey from product launch to shopper's basket is what's possible with digital printing, as many steps are removed from the analog process that saves both time and dollars. As a case study example in this, we worked recently with a customer who had a variety of meal kits they were trying to get to market. This brand's challenge was to prove a new meal concept to retailers, provide actual packaging samples to the retailer, all while having the flexibility to run numerous flavor options across several sized cartons. It all needed to be done affordably and quickly. One reason digital printing was the perfect solution for this application was because it offered the ability to meet various flavor versioning requirements for the launch run. Digital also allowed shaving several weeks off the approval and manufacturing process that's typically used in traditional and analog printing. Not only did the printing allow the brand to meet the demanding launch date, it made the overall project very affordable for launch and allowed them the economies of scale of being able to run multiple flavors at the same time in a single setup. Our second point here would be digitally printed packaging allows for production variation that improves shelf presence. When you want to connect with your shopper and give them more options at retail, digital can be the way to go. The flexibility of the digital printing process allows for customized programs that help your brand stand out at retail. Digital packaging provides a far more affordable way to allow shopper variety and selection on shelf for products that require this at retail. Looking at our next case study, referencing shelf presence, the brand's challenge here was to meet customer demand for product variation by offering shelf variety in packaging. As you'll see here through the photo, on shelf, the customer wants a selection, so you can see 4 different prints here in the offering. Hand towel and tissue products end up in a variety of rooms in the customer's home, and the ability to choose a package that blends with the customer's decor is very important. This can be a complicated and costly process for box converters to blend runs and assure a specific print mix is delivered that offers variety at retail. Digital printing allows this to happen directly via the printing process while manufacturing. Numerous versions can be run and sequenced automatically without manual combining. With digital printing, the product variety is only limited by your imagination, as it's now possible to run 4, 8, 12, or many more prints commingled. With a broader product selection at retail, the shopper has more choice and is more likely to find and purchase the product in the packaging that best suits their needs. Our next point is that digitally printed packaging provides specific shopper targeting opportunities. When you want to reach specific shoppers, digital allows your brand the flexibility to speak to different groups directly. Reaching multiple audience within a single packaging run reduces the overall cost of your project. Targeting multiple or specific demographics within a packaging run is far easier with digital packaging options. As an example on this side for shopper targeting, digital printing also offers the ability to meet specific customer demand targets for a variety of areas, even beyond physical packaging and into promotional items. This image wrap product shows how digital's benefits expand beyond packaging and into promotional display materials. This product was run as a single print order for economy, but offered targeting to specific teams and regions very economically. As you can see from the images, the same size prints can be run together to target multiple audiences, allowing a broader reach and saving cost and time on the specific project due to the flexibility of digital printing. Our next value point would be that digital printed packaging helps keep packaging order sizes flexible to meet your specific needs. Digital also allows more flexible order quantities since you can easily gang run multiple prints together for different flavors, colors, or other variations. Short run charges can be greatly reduced when orders are easily combined on a single setup for manufacturing. When you have differing quantities and small quantities that could go together with your large normal runs, instead of having to buy a year's usage on a smaller quantity to be able to get a price point that works for you, on the digital process, we're easily able to just gang those up and run them with the other ones. And in that kind of a point, all we really care about then is the die change for cutting dies, not printing plate changes. As an example on this side for flexible order sizing, customers' challenge here is to meet varying demand for a variety of private label packages in different areas for different retailers at a consistent price point. Digital allows gang running various versions to gain economy of scale by combining numerous product runs. Periodic runs, monthly, weekly, etc., can be scheduled to allow order pooling and execution of this process, and using digital printing makes this easier, more timely, and more cost-effective. We could end up setting aside, a monthly run of 100,000 pieces, and from our perspective, it doesn't matter if there's 2 prints or 4 prints or 10 prints, really, because in our printing process, all of those additional setups and all the things involved with that become far simpler, and it becomes a single die cut run. So as you see here in a variety of beer box challenges, is we can run many different brands at the same time if we set up on a 12-pack or a 6-pack, et cetera, and pool those to get the customer consistent pricing across a wide variety of brands. Each of these benefits demonstrate how digital printing can help your brand get to market more efficiently and stand out on the shelf more uniquely to sell your product to your shopper more successfully. Moving on to some ways that might be also on the retail side, retailers are always looking for ways they can differentiate themselves from their competitors to draw the shopper to their specific store. How might digital help with that? One of our first ways we look at is digital printed packaging meets increased demands for retail customization. When retailers ask for specific packaging attributes, customized images, retail-specific co-branding, all of these requests become easier and more affordable with digital printing. Individual packaging runs can be split into a series of customized runs at very little additional cost, making these retailer-specific requests affordable. Adding retailer-specific information or co-branding to help recognize retailer exclusivity is easily accomplished using digital packaging. As an example here, we'll talk a little bit again about a retail customization for private label. This doesn't necessarily have to be private label. It can be set by retailer. It can be a wide variety of things, but this is a good recent example we've run. The customer's challenge here was to offer retailer customization, specific private labels for retailers at an affordable price point compared to their normal runs. Digital, again, allows gang run opportunities to run various prints of the same size packaging with very little changeover time. If your product's sold in a variety of retailers and the retailer has specific graphic needs to meet their requirements, multiple print versions via digital make this process, again, easy and affordable. In this specific example, we can see we're running the same product in a variety of locations, so the die and the package is the same size, but whether we have 2 prints or 10 different prints run at the same time, it really helps control cost on the packaging because we can put that together as one die form run. Next slide here is digital printed packaging helps produce regional, local, and channel-specific promotions. Regional promotions such as an area-based tie-ins with professional sports teams, college branding, local events, all become simpler and more economical to participate in and implement through the use of digitally printed packaging. These types of promotions can help drive shoppers to purchase based on their allegiance to a particular team or by tying in upcoming events in their areas, such as concerts, races, festivals, any type of a thing like that where you want to have a tie-in to something. One good example here of a recent team-specific promotion, this brand's challenge was to capitalize on their launch of the NFL season by branding their products with team logos, tying to the beginning of the season, and giving fans a chance to show their team loyalty. To meet this challenge, normal packaging run was supplemented with additional team prints run in combination to allow the brand to have team-specific packaging in certain high-value markets. Digital printing allowed the brand to grow incremental sales by targeting a specific demographic, the raving football fan. I think many people can relate to that one. Our next step is that digital printed packaging allows for affordable market segmentation of varying demographics. Targeting specific demographics is both easier and more cost-effective with the flexibility offered by digital printing for packaging. Reaching out to speak to your specific targets and being able to offer multiple messages to these targets can help reinforce your brand's message at a variety of retail locations, specifically targeting their unique shoppers. Omnichannel and social media connections, reacting swiftly to market drivers, are certainly possible by tying in with digital. The example that's here is not one that we've actually produced, was done with another HP partner, but the brand's challenge was to work with a packaging converter in developing ways to raise awareness of a regional disaster and to help affected farmers and businesses recover from the event. The idea here was to use social media and packaging together to raise awareness of the issue. This interesting example was executed by a brand in Italy who developed a promotion using digital print to help farmers in an earthquake-damaged area of the country. The brand used crowdsourced campaign via Facebook to reach customers, inviting them to send messages of encouragement to farmers and businesses affected by the earthquake. These messages were then printed on apple boxes, which headed to grocers in the regions affected. With more than 2 million cartons produced in just a few short months, featuring almost 30,000 unique crowdsourced messages, the program was a huge success. Shoppers visited stores to look for their own messages, and in the process, Apple sales greatly increased. This allowed the brand to donate over $100,000 from the profits of sales in this program to those affected by the earthquake. This is a great example of how digitally printed packaging can be leveraged to work with other media to provide timely communication in a very quick speed-to-market scenario and be relevant to what's going on today. Digitally printed packaging helps to enable special retailer and brand promotional opportunities. Digital printing offers a variety of ways to connect with shoppers via specific promotional opportunities. Packaging that ties into exclusive time-sensitive promotions or holiday campaigns is now possible and easier to manage with the speed to market and quantity flexibility offered by digital print for packaging. On this case study here, one more football-based theme. As you can see, we've done a variety of uses of our digital press this season as you went out. Brand retailer challenge here was to gain a football season launch to work with various regions and retailers to customize for many teams, both professional and college related. This particular project had over 180 different print versions across 4 different pieces. Running this kind of a project in an analog process is possible, but extremely costing and time consuming. Just the setup and time involved on a traditional offset press to accomplish 180 different prints can be staggering. Yet with digital, this could be done on a daily basis. And I think the entire project took us a couple of days to run, where it would have been weeks on setup alone just to make the promotion, doing it in an analog type process. So I think what we've tried to explain here in these methods is that digital printing for packaging opens up a future of new possibilities to elevate your brand at retail and to gain better customer recognition and increase product sales. Digitally printed packaging can get you to market faster, easier, and at a competitive price point while allowing you to differentiate your products. It also provides new ways to interact with shoppers, engage with social media, and connect in ways that allow greater interaction at retail. All of these benefits contribute to an exceptional engagement experience for your shopper, which is what will keep them coming back in the era of increased internet presence. Great Northern is leading the path for digitally printed packaging with our StrataGraph product line and HP's high-speed inkjet printing process. I'm going to show you a couple more videos now because they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, so just a couple more shots to kind of show you. The first one I'm going to show you really shows exactly what an order changeover looks like. For those of you who have any familiarity with printing, this should be pretty What you saw there in that video was basically a multi-print run on the same die. And as you see print A finish, we insert about a dozen blank die cuts only to allow for a line clear when it's going through the die cutting section, and then we're immediately on to the next print. You can see, if you're familiar with printing at all, if that was being run on a flexo press, an offset press, or anything else, you would have had to stop there, change over your plates, make sure everything is correct on what you've got going on, and do another setup. That little 12-image blank that was in there could be a couple thousand feet of waste doing the changeover, whereas in digital, especially as we've color checked and everything up front as we go through, these kind of changeovers are possible. So one more video to show you yet. Kind of on that same thing with the football launch is another piece that just kind of shows you all the different parts that are going through. And when you're done watching this, I'll kind of explain the setup on multi-part things like that. So what you've seen there is another one on a setup for one of these jobs where we have about 38 different prints going through. So in our proofing and process up front, we are G7 certified on the press. We know what our color profiles are going to be. So we can utilize either with proofing that we make for a customer, perhaps an online run, depending on how familiar the customer is in our process. We'll go through and we'll do color checking and correction up front on all the prints. Then they'll be staged and ready to go as they go through, so they can run very similar to what you saw in the previous one, where we just go from one image to the next as we finish the quantity of it. The one that you saw there was just basically running one-offs of each so we can finish our setup on it. But just shows you the power, again, of digital and what we have there. So next what I'd like to do is to let HP and David jump in and tell you a little bit about the variety of other specific digital omni-channel applications that they've been involved with to see if they can stimulate some other ideas for you on how you might be able to use digital. David?
Thanks, Mike. I really loved some of those case studies that you shared because they demonstrate some of the value that's not exactly obvious to those who are observing the possibility of digital for their packaging. So you talked about, the supply chain optimization, and you talked about the retail shelf presence and the consumer engagement, and that actually extends into the ability to manage the product life cycle for brand owners, which is so critical today. As you mentioned, there are more SKUs than ever before with no more shelf space. And so there is a need to go to market more efficiently, to manage that supply chain, to reduce waste, and to match supply with demand. So what I'd like to do is share with the audience some of the additional stories that have been delivered through brands both in the United States and around the world. So I've got some examples from Europe and Africa and Korea and Scotland and a little bit in the United States that I'd like to share as well. So this first one is an Italian brand, and for some of us mature adults, we might remember the Riuniti brand at its peak in the 70s and 80s. In fact, in 1985, this brand had reached its peak sales in the United States of 11.5 million cases. But by the time the turn of the century came around, it had lost its brand appeal, and it was only shipping a little bit more than 1 million cases a year. So, over time, the brand began to reinvent itself, and in fact, in 2015, this brand redesigned its labels, its packaging, its whole advertising and branding campaign, creating a new website and a new sort of go-to-market strategy to go global once again. And so many know the Riuniti brand from its Lambrusco label in the United States in that era. But what they wanted to do is they wanted to introduce a new product in sangria, but didn't know what the demand would be, so didn't want to overorder. So what they decided to do is to work with their packaging converter to create a test market and produce a limited quantity and really make sure that the brand appeal was represented through high graphics and very bold, high vibrant colors, and to make sure that this was representing the quality that they wanted to represent inside the package. And so, again, didn't know exactly how many they were going to sell, so wanted to start with a limited quantity, didn't want to pay for plates and setups for a long run that might not have been successful. So they used the HP process to create the exact quantity of boxes, really with very high quality graphics and custom markings to highlight the product's compliance with the U.S. alcohol importation requirements and other regulatory requirements. And what they were really able to do in the end with this test market was to rethink their global marketing strategy and to try new products with limited risk. So they were able to test the demand, and it was a successful launch, and then they, of course, expanded after that initial launch. But this would have cost them thousands of dollars and taken weeks to add to the preparation if they had to do it in an analog process. So digital was a real value to the Riuniti brand here. This next brand is one that many or most probably have not heard of. It's a European brand called Phippy, and it's privately held, family-owned company. It was established in 1970, and it's interestingly one of the largest private label diaper manufacturers in Europe. In fact, they ship about 500,000, or they ship to families in 19 countries, and 500,000 or more children use this product every day, but they don't necessarily use, they don't know that the brand is the same as it is in another country, because it has been reversioned with a different SKU, with a different graphic, with a different set of copy for the local language. And so with his 19 country distribution and the multiple languages and the multiple SKUs and the colors and the graphics that they wanted to add, they needed to be able to manage the product life cycle and match supply with demand. So the real key here is being able to order exactly the quantity that they want. So not having to order 30,000 of a particular version if they really believe that they're only going to sell 22,700. They can actually order this precise exact quantity, which is a huge value to the brand, to the retailers, and to the shareholders of the company. So another great value of digital is being able to match that supply with demand to optimize the supply chain. This next brand may be notable to some. It's an international brand, but this particular case was executed in Germany. So we know about HelloFresh as a provider of menu-selected cook-at-home meal products. And so what HelloFresh had been doing was to make the exact same image on a brown box or a white top box, and that was shipped to every consumer the same way in the same package around the world. But they wanted to try something new in a seasonal holiday promotion, and so this was at the end of 2016, I believe, where they started the summer barbecue special, and they wanted to create a new graphic image for their subscribers and the clients who wanted to try the new menu for the summer barbecue season. Again, being able to do this with high graphics, with 4-color process, and being able to do it with the precise quantity that was needed in a very limited time frame, because the worst thing that they would have realized is to have a whole bunch of summer barbecue boxes at the beginning of fall. So they were able to order the quantity they needed, have it go to market precisely the way they wanted, and they were also designing the product almost on the fly as it went out. So they were able to make last-minute iterations in the graphics development. And then later that year, they developed a new campaign for the holiday season, and were able to offer 2 new 3-course menus for the Christmas season, and again wanted to experiment with the design. And so in fact what they did was they packaged the design with an interactive experience, and they, at the last minute, one of the designers said, what if we put lines on the box so that people could cut it out and create a little holiday toy or an ornament or some kind of additional gift from that graphic design, maybe something for kids. So it doesn't matter whether it was a great idea or not. What matters was it was a late stage idea that they wanted to do almost right before printing, and were able to do that. Would not have been able to do that with analog processes. So this next brand is in Eastern Europe, and it's probably one that we don't know, but the English name of it is Golden Egg. And so they are one of the largest co-op egg providers in Eastern Europe, and we're realizing that whether it's in the U.S. or Eastern Europe or in somewhere else in Asia or otherwise, there is a global trend toward something called locavore consumption. So that means that we want to buy food from our local farmers. We want to know where it was grown. We want to support our local economy, and we don't want to buy something necessarily that was grown and shipped and produced around the world. So to take advantage of this locavore movement, Golden Egg versioned their boxes down to the local sub-region level, and you can see these 3 or 4 different graphic images showing This is in Czech, so I don't know exactly what it says, but it basically says that it was produced in this particular region within the Czech Republic or in Hungary. And that was something that really helped to support a growth in sales, brand engagement, and loyalty for the company. This is a nice little family brand story called Earn Brew. This is a Scottish brand of soft drink. It's a carbonated soft drink that is flavored, and they effectively had the same label that was shipped all over northern UK, and they decided, why don't we try to spike sales by having some localized engagement, and they came up with the idea to have a new label produced that would match the family's Scottish tartan. So there are 57 family tartans or clans in Scotland, and so they created these labels and supporting point of purchase display with the family tartans of these 57 families. And so sales were a tremendous success, and the campaign was repeated and helped to initiate a lot of social media and public relations coverage for the brand. So only possible with digital. So this next story is from another vintner in Italy called Mondo del Vino, and they produce about 39 million liters of wines a year. And they've done a lot of really creative projects with digital. They have designed packaging for holiday gifts. They've created special graphics suggesting food pairing. So this wine goes with asparagus. This wine goes well with red meat. So they would actually change the versions of the package to match the suggestion of the marketing department. They also versioned labels and boxes for cooperative marketing with restaurants. And what I'm showing you here is a project that they had conceived of, which is to create a specialty shelf display. And so shelf displays are expensive and they take up a lot of real estate. So let's make sure that we are using that real estate to sell every bit that we can and not have any unusable space. So why don't we make the display out of the package itself? So with digital, they were able to create this stackable puzzle display design so that when you arrange these 4, 6, 9, 12 or more boxes in a stack, they create a master image that really creates a very high impact appeal to the shopper that's going by. Really creative use of digital. And this campaign is one I love because it combines so many different elements of modern day marketing into the packaging design. It uses crowdsourced content for a cause marketing campaign. Utilizes digital print, but it also makes every individual package unique. So in this case, this South African liqueur called Amarula wanted to draw attention to the fact that African elephants are being overhunted and they are in danger of extinction. And so they wanted to create an awareness campaign, drive it through YouTube, Facebook, and other digital marketing channels, and engage the consumers and the community to create content for their packaging. And for every engagement, Amarula donated money toward this fund to help save the African elephants. So what they did was allowed the users to go online and to create a customized graphic design of an elephant, and they could name the elephant. And so what you see here in this image is that every single one of these liqueur bottles are unique in their design because they went and they online using the web tool were able to create this custom graphic with their own imagery and then name that elephant. So what Amarula did was they collected and all of this crowdsourced content, and they made labels out of these designs and then placed them in for sale in the store. So this was something that got a lot of great public relations coverage, very high value earned media, and it extended its value well beyond the sale of the product, but gave the brand a lot of extended appeal to the community. So these are just some examples. There are many more, and the point really is that digital print is not new. The risk is low, and when we have innovators like Great Northern Corporation, who are the early adopters of digital print, and they're driving this value into high volume folding cartons and engaging with brands and educating brands on what's possible, we're going to see more and more of these kinds of use cases, hopefully from you on the line, because I think that we've hoped to share some of these points of value to you, and maybe hope to educate and inspire you on what's possible, and to make the on-ramp to digital simple and affordable for you. So there's so many different value points that the great folks at Great Northern StrataGraph can help you with. So really encourage you to ask any questions you might have of Mike or me, and then we can follow up from there. So I'll turn it back to you, Bill, and we can start to entertain some questions from the audience.
You got it, David. Thanks a lot. That was a wonderful presentation, and I like that phrase, on-ramp to digital, because this is definitely a highway that can take you a lot of interesting places. It's only limited by people's imaginations. So let's take a look inside the Q&A chat feature and see what we got. Okay, there's a bunch. All right, here we go. This one came from a brand marketer, I guess. Yeah. How has customer acceptance been on the print quality of digital packaging? How has customer acceptance been on the print quality of digital packaging?
I'll add a quick answer from my side, see if David wants to expand upon it all, but our acceptance has been really, really good. I think that, one of the initial things we had done going out, being as that we were primarily offset prior to installing the digital, is to run similar graphics or same printing on both offset and digital, and bring parts to customers to show them side by side and ask them if they can tell the difference between what they are. And I was very intrigued by some of the initial samples we came out, because basically it was about a 50-50 guess. Very difficult to tell the difference between what we have, and with the variety of runs that we have done so far, I think there's been strong acceptance of the overall quality of this inkjet digital printing.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just add to that by saying that with the advances that HP has made in the thermal inkjet technology into the design and the development of our high-quality pigment inks, in the color management software, and in the way that the writing systems are engineered to create continuity and consistency, this whole fear that digital is only for very short runs, it's not suitable or acceptable to compare to mainstream analog print, is a fear of the past. And in fact, there have been a handful of cases in which the brand said, okay, we need the quality to be dumbed down a little bit so that it matches our basic flexo that we're producing on the other technology. So with our profiling and with the quality, we're able to match very closely what is produced through other means.
Okay. This one popped up from the same person. And also, are there color limitations in terms of the print quality question and digital packaging? Are there color limitations?
Yeah. Here's how I would answer that, is that, the press that we have and it was available at the time we've gone out is a traditional 4-color process press. So with the availability on 4-color process, I think our experiences is we're probably in that, high 80% range of matching PMS colors. So there still could be some some spot colors that might be a little difficult to obtain. For those of you who are familiar with a PMS to process book, that's kind of already addressed in typical printing to show you about how close it's going to be. And I think what we find through experience is we're able to generally improve upon the book, but if there's colors that are that are considerably off, they offer challenges that we have to work through with the customer because there are no spot colors available. But I think what we found is on new orders going through where we can work with a customer ahead, generally we've had very little problem arriving at something that works for them. If we're trying to match exactly to a previously run spot color, we just have to be careful and make sure we have a full understanding of what it'll look like going in.
Yep, that sounds good. This one came in, this is kind of a specific question, but it came from a pretty big company that makes food, I think. Are the inks mineral free? Are the inks mineral free?
Yes,
So
I think
I'll
I
take that
actually,
one,
go ahead. Yep.
Go ahead.
No, go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, yeah, so that's one of the unique things about our ink as compared to some of the other digital inks out there that use, some of those other inks use UV reactive chemistries. So our inks are true water-based, and they do not contain any photoinitiators, polymers, or UV reactive chemistries. So, you know, the use cases are going to need to be varied to the specific brand application, and we and Great Northern can work with you on that, and HP can support. But there, you don't have the minerals that you have with other processes in this inkjet ink.
Okay. Here's a process question. When's the best time in the process to get StrataGraph involved in a digital packaging project? When's the best time to get StrataGraph involved?
Yeah, that was one I kind of tried to mention that at the beginning, was that the sooner in the food chain we can be involved in the conversation, the better, because we can work with the agencies or whoever else is developing art or helping that process to make sure there's a good understanding of what the color spectrum is going to look like, what the particular needs of digital can be, some of the unique features that digital can bring, that you can have different easily changeable graphics and stuff like that. So the further up we can get in that development process, the more we can help, you know, present that understanding of what the digital value props are and make sure that the artwork is done from the beginning to match that, or even that the campaign is set up to utilize that capability.
Okay. Here's one coming in. Is the digital process more sustainable than traditional printing processes in regards to, I guess, water usage, the type of inks you're using? So is digital more sustainable than traditional printing processes?
I'll throw a quick answer at that. Maybe David wants to expand upon it, but my answer is going to be yes for a variety of reasons. Again, it's a water-based inkjet process, so it doesn't have some of the chemical issues, the UVs, the photoinitiators, and stuff like that on it that make it safer in general. I think one of the bigger issues is it's the reduced waste footprint and setup features that essentially you're not using the paper, the ink, and all the other stuff to run a lot of setup, because on the digital process, you get to where you're going to print very quickly. So it allows, you know, savings on all of the materials, et cetera, that are involved in it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good complete answer. I don't think there's much to add to that.
Okay. This one is an interesting one, and maybe there is no answer at this point in time yet. Are there design agencies that specialize, well, if companies or brands are interested in unique designs for a product, are there design agencies that specialize in the software, or is there training available? So and I think the emphasis here was on unique designs in this digital realm.
Yeah, I'll throw a quick one at that, David. You may want to expand upon this too, but I think that, you know, one of the areas that we've offered some things on with HP, and HP is certainly willing to come in and do training sessions, et cetera, is I really didn't talk much about the Mosaic software, which is truly running unique designs going through where everything can be different. And there are plugins available for some of the traditional software that, you know, kind of gives you a taste of what that is and helps design in that area. And there is training available from HP as to how to do that. I don't know of a specific agency that purely specializes on the digital side right now, but I do think we also have a lot of experience internally that we can work with agencies to help get them up to speed pretty quickly on what those capabilities are.
Absolutely, and through HP and with our support as well. But I would say, aside from the answer regarding any agency specializing in digital, I can tell you that more and more pre-press houses and agencies are adding digital design acumen and expertise and resources to their portfolio. So they realize and recognize that this is no longer a niche technology or an application, but that more and more mainstream packaging campaigns are being initiated with digital, and that they are investing in understanding how to design for digital, how to optimize for ink economics, how to utilize these proprietary software tools to maximize the appeal. And so it's growing, and GNC and HP are helping to support the brands.
Okay. All right, I'm getting the high sign that we have to sign off soon here, but I want you to do this last one quickly. It's, again, coming in from a brand. How do ink costs differ from conventional inks? I guess, how do digital ink costs differ from conventional ink?
Well, I will tell you that Go ahead. You start, David.
Go ahead. Yeah, from the manufacturer's perspective, I can just tell you that digital inks from any manufacturer are more expensive than analog inks. There is a very high degree of science and chemical engineering that's involved in creating the balance of substrate harmony with printhead harmony, so that all these components are working together. So it is a very high-tech industry and a process that requires millions of dollars to develop an ink. So the cost of the variable consumption is going to always be more than analog. But there are also savings on the other end of the equation without the plates and the setup and the reduction of materials loss. So overall, what you have to look at is what the additional value that the package will bring through supply chain optimization and brand engagement and shelf appeal, but understanding that in many cases, not all, but many cases, digital may be more expensive than analog because of the ink, but you also have to look at the overall supply chain optimization as well.
Yeah. Mike? And the only thing I would add quickly to that is that, as David said, yes, they are more expensive. That does offset some of the other savings areas that are in it. But one of the things that we absolutely try and work on with customers is understanding to print only in those areas that we have to with what we've got to reduce ink usage. Because, on Flexo and Offset, a lot of times you would fill in other areas to eliminate some of the flaws in that printing, putting extra ink down so that you get a smoother coverage, where in digital, that's absolutely the opposite of what you want to do. You want to just make sure you're using the ink you're putting down as effectively as you can.
We'll have to wrap up today. Big thank you to everyone online who joined us today. Mike and David shared some great information. We hope you enjoyed the session. One last bit of housekeeping that we take very seriously. As you sign up the WebEx now, a short survey will pop up. I know these things can be a bit of a pain, but please take a minute to fill it out, okay? Feedback's really valuable to the presenters, and it's foundational to everything we do in terms of programming at the Institute, because we use this stuff for seminars, webinars, everything. So thanks in advance for doing that. And thanks again to Mike Schliesman of Great Northern StrataGraph and David Murphy of HP Inc. And from everyone at the Path to Purchase Institute, have a great afternoon. Have a great weekend, everyone in the Southeast. Stay as dry as you can. And until next time, bye-bye.